right now, for the podcast listeners only, we're offering $5 off each ticket purchased on Formula Drift website by using FD Podcast when you check out. That is FD Podcast. I don't know if you need a capital, the FD, but try it either way. So head over to formuladrift.com, pick up the tickets, then enter code FD Podcast, get $5 off all 8 events this year. So 20 a season. Head over. If you're going, save $5. Might as well. All right, guys, welcome back to the Outerzone. My name is Jacob Gettins. This is the official podcast of Formula Drift, and we have what is slowly becoming the people's champ, Mr. Jonathan Hurst. What's going on, bud?
How's it going, man?
It's going. It's late, as people can tell by the clock in the back, but I'm glad we got to get this all scheduled, so pretty happy about that.
Yeah, unfortunately, been a little under the weather, still a little bit, but we kept having to push it off. But glad to make it happen now.
Yeah, we'll just get Jay to edit out any coughing. It'll be fine. Just
yeah.
It's all good.
There'll be a whole reel of me just coughing.
Yeah, we should just hypercut you just you coughing.
Yeah,
I think we could make that happen. I'll talk to the editor Kyle and get him to make that happen.
Yeah.
So what have you been up to? How's everything been since Long Beach?
Pretty good. Well, actually, not really that good. Been sick. But other than that, just working in the shop trying to get caught up because we've been gone for a little bit over a week. Trying to get the damage on the car fixed up so it's ready for Atlanta. Trying to sort out some sponsorship stuff as well last minute, get everything ready for the team, apparel and all that so we can have some stuff for round 2 and be a little bit more prepared.
Nice. Was there much body damage after that wall tap?
Actually, not really. Just the rear bumper was messed up. And other than that, the trunk was actually somewhat okay. Broke the trunk latches. But other than that, the quarter panels, everything else, they're perfect. Obviously tail light and stuff like that. But really, it's it.
Yeah, just kind of cracks like the gel coat or whatever. I don't even know what they coat it in.
Yeah, some sort of coating, yeah.
Yeah, but it seems to be even seeing Stuckey's car and Simon's car after his hit with Dylan and stuff, it's crazy how those HGK kits kind of come back around.
Yeah, no, I was very impressed with it, especially with because the Kevlar kit I have, it's pretty it's kind of stiff. Mm-hmm. Stuckey's you can roll up, so you
really?
Expect it to come back. Yeah, you could take Stuckey's trunk and just roll it up, straight up roll it all the way up, and it just goes right back out. Mine, you can't really do anything like that, but it's it kind of holds its shape more. But it seems to take just as good of a beating though.
It reminds me of those was Duraflex body kits where it would come in a tube
back in the day.
and you'd lay it out in the sun or something.
Well, KBD I think has urethane bumpers that come rolled up in a box.
That's crazy. Did you ever rock any of those back in the day?
No, I never. Well, I had a urethane bumper for a Z a long time ago, but. Okay. I didn't really care too much for it at the time.
Yeah. Well, is it now one of those once you're into carbon Kevlar, it's going to be impossible to go back?
No, not at all. That price tag, it's definitely able to go back.
It's definitely
a cool product, but I don't want to go back. But that wall hit, she cost a pretty penny.
Yeah. You stayed in it though,
Yeah, we already knew. Everyone was well, what's going to happen when you hit the wall with this kit? I'm well, I'm not going to drive any differently because there's an expensive body kit on my car. Mm-hmm. It's just that's all there is to it,
Yeah, you definitely didn't let up at all. Obviously, It went better this year in Long Beach than it did last year, but...
Yeah, for sure.
Significantly better, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. How, I guess, obviously... not having a big title on the car, I think you talked about in your kind of acceptance speech, I guess it was, when you got that award where you're hey, we weren't even sure if we're going to be here a couple of weeks ago. That's some huge validation to walk in and take fourth.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not ideal to go into round 1 last minute because, I was on the phone with Rad Dan talking to him, maybe thinking of planning on trying to do some events with him. But at the last minute, I was just I can't give up yet. And then obviously some couple of key companies came on board for just the last minute. Got us at least started for the season, and now we just got to kind of figure it out from here and see what we can do and finish the year out.
Yeah, and you said earlier too, like still working on the sponsorship stuff. So like that's not letting up anytime soon.
No, we can't.
So you're like, I think it's pretty well known at this point in time that you run probably one of the smallest budgets in FD. Did you ever figure out? I know there was a conversation or a video you did. I think it was with Pro 2 where you broke down what the cost of that was. Have you figured out what it was for Pro last year or the year before?
Well, unfortunately, I don't really like putting that number out there anymore because a lot of the other drivers come at me and like, yo, you can't be putting out this low number because, other people are thinking that maybe you really can do it for that cheap. And it's because, other guys are, telling other companies, hey, it costs this much to run, when in theory, it really does cost that much to run. But for me and my team, like, you know how it is. We do whatever we can to make it happen. Yeah. When I say that I only spent $49,000 for a Pro 1 year, like, you start adding up, and I really did only spend that. Like, a couple other guys like Chelsea and them, they asked me these questions. Well, did it really cost that? Like, what they do is they start trying to nickel and dime me, like, well, what about your time? And, well, what did your crew, did you pay your crew and stuff? Like, yeah, I get that I didn't pay my crew. I get that we slept in the trailer and I was super tired and, we didn't eat that great or whatever. But, I mean, it's just we did what my team did what we had to do to be there, to get there, and to make it home. And that's just that was the only way I was able to make it. It's not a choice. It wasn't, that's how I wanted to do it. It's just that's how we had to do it. So, and right now we're not on a good start for that either. So, but hopefully, we pull some stuff together and get some companies on board and we can put something together.
Yeah, I mean, that's the concession that you make. Like, it would be great to have big, expensive hotels or, huge Airbnbs and all this stuff. But like, to do it, it's like, is it possible to do it on, let's say, $50,000 to round up, right? In case we're missing like a couple of gas station hamburgers or
100%.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, is it possible? 100% is possible. Is it comfortable? No.
Nope.
Yeah.
And also, like, when people say, well, what did that include? Like, obviously that doesn't include the cost of the car. Yeah. And that's where, like, Chelsea and them get into it. Like, I completely understand that doesn't include the cost of the car, but luckily when we get in a level like this, most of the parts we can get for free in some sort of way. And so that helps a lot, on that side of things. Plus, I do all the work myself. So then that's where Chelsea's like, well, you do this and you do that. You got to count your time and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. My time's not free. And honestly, my brother preaches that to me too. Your time is not free. So, and I get that. So, but at the same time, like, it's my choice and that's what I want to do. So, in theory, it's free to me if it's for myself.
Yeah, I mean, I get where they're coming from too, and it's the same situation, but also kind of different, right? Because like, that's Chelsea now, whereas if you talk to Chelsea in the BMW days, it's a different conversation. Like, even my conversation with them, like, we kind of got into that. Like, it was still, I mean, it wasn't the RTR program it is now.
No, and for sure.
I'm sure the conversation that he's having with you is probably the conversation that somebody else was having with him back in those days too, right?
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
You got to pay yourself for this, you got to do that. And he's like, yeah, I'll get there one day, right? Like, that's...
Yeah, but those videos that Chelsea did is like, I watched those videos, Like, before going in the Pro 1, I literally watched every single one of his old videos, just like seeing how he would, like, because he was competing with like the big dudes at that time with, nothing. Yeah. So, like, and it was pretty cool to watch that,
And I think it's cool too, because you guys are, I guess I can't say like close, but like, I see you guys talking quite a lot on grid.
Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes they acknowledge me.
No, I mean, I would think the general consensus on grid is you're a pretty well-liked guy, which is, I mean, it's cool. I mean, there's definitely guys on the grid that don't get along with each other, but like...
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know if there's been anybody on grid that has like, yeah, screw that guy. Like, I don't think that's come up yet. No, not yet. I mean, we'll see how this year goes. That's the thing. If you really start winning, people start getting mad, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So
I guess hopefully they get mad then.
Is there anything like you're changing up going into Atlanta? Like, obviously,
Man, honestly, I just have a good headspace. I'm relaxed. Long Beach, I wasn't really pressed. I was kind of relaxed as well. I don't know. The car just feels really good, and I'm really confident in the car. And it's just cool to have like a tire company stand behind me now, and that just like kind of makes you feel good as well. And we're definitely going to nut and bolt the car, go through everything, make sure everything's 100%. I was still using the clutch from last year, so it's got like 9 FD events on it. So I'm changing the clutch to a brand new monster clutch. But other than that, change the oil and be ready to go.
And there's guys swapping out clutches every round.
Yeah, it's crazy, but different setups and stuff. So
yeah, I mean, shouts out Monster Clutch apparently. Jeez,
yeah,
nice plug there.
Exactly.
Like 9 events on that. That's crazy.
Well, I mean, I did like 4 or 5 other events as well last year, so it's got a lot of time on it.
You did that mud bogging. That was
oh yeah, that too,
dude.
Yep.
That was crazy. I think you need to do that. You need to do that more often.
People. Nope, I ain't doing that again.
Why not?
Maybe if it's a little drier, but dude, it sucked. Dude, there's still mud in the chassis to this day. I'm sure when I went over tech, they were like, "Hey, there's still dirt in this thing."
It
sucked so bad, yeah.
I remember seeing that clip, just going like, "Okay, that's officially the coolest thing to do in the off season." Like, ice racing's cool, but
it was definitely cool. And definitely a lot of people, like when we pulled up, they're like, "This dude's really not about to do this," because it wasn't supposed to like rain, and then it ended up raining.
And it was on like tractor tires or something.
Yeah, it was like V-treads.
Okay.
It's basically tractor tires, but the speed rating is not very high for them. And I think I was spinning them to like 150, and they did not come apart at all.
Jesus.
Because I was doing it 4th gear pinned, through the thing, and I still had I forgot what gearing I still had in the car, probably from Irwindale, so maybe 130 or something.
That's still crazy.
Yeah.
It's funny too because like you see kind of like when it hooks and it just takes off because like it's just like throwing.
They were skinny tires, so like they didn't do good out of the hole. But then when you got moving like 10, 20 mile an hour, like you could just let it eat, and it was moving, it was hauling. So
yeah. Have you've done a couple of motorsports now? Like I think anybody who's like followed your career is pretty aware of all the drag racing stuff.
Yeah. A lot of the 1320 stuff. Yep.
Yeah. If you guys want, go back and definitely type in what is it? What's it under? What's the title? Do you know?
Drift Car Goes Street Racing or something like that, or drag. I don't. Yeah, something along those lines. But it ended up making like the cover 1320 video, which was really cool as well.
That's nuts.
For like back in Texas 2K.
Jeez, we should. Have you thought about like just throwing slicks on the drift car and running that again?
Yeah, but the problem is that was on the street, and like FD's not going to view that very well. And
no, I mean,
and obviously a lot of companies, but we thought about doing it on the drag strip for sure. But to be honest with you, every single time I've taken my drift car to the drag strip, something always breaks. Like my brother has a 400 horsepower 240 and LS swapped, and I will drag race him with my 1,000 horsepower, and he beats me every time because I either break an axle or the car spins or something dumb, and he drives it into me every day. How he beats me, so I just might as well just stay off the drag strip with the drift car.
That's your brother Floyd, right?
Yep. So
yeah,
older brother, and he's definitely not letting me live that stuff down.
That dynamic is kind of fun because like the way you guys like not argue but like bicker as brothers.
Oh, absolutely,
dude. It's so great, and yeah. I think what's funny too is you have this like history of making bets. Like I think the easiest one's like Humans with like the foot race and tires.
Yeah, that's funny. That memory popped up.
Yeah, that's what reminded me. Is like it came up recently that you foot raced Human for tires.
Well, times were tough then.
Yeah.
That was actually the trip that I was counting how much I spent.
Oh right, was that?
It was like a round
trip?
1 Orlando. It was my first weekend podium. I only spent like $1,000 once I got my winnings and everything back. So it was like the cheapest FD event I had done.
Like actual net, like wasn't actually that bad.
Yeah, exactly.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Do you gamble often? Like, is that a thing for you?
No, but it's funny. My brother and them we went to the casino and I've never gambled in there. My brother's friend went and spent some money in the casino, blew like $100 real quick, and they came in like, here's this 20, go spend it or go blow it, and then ended up making like $180. And they're like, so I just gave him his money back, and they're just like, how? And I was just like, yep, I'm not doing this though.
Yeah, don't want to get hooked in there.
Yeah, I already gamble enough drifting,
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's not really a gamble. That's just a money pit.
But I mean, you're betting on yourself at the end of the day, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I guess.
You have some control of the odds. It's kind of like playing poker, or like gambling on pool or something like that, which I've heard you don't do anymore.
Nope.
No, lost a PlayStation that way, huh?
Yeah. Dang, you did go back. That was like when I was a young kid. Yeah, I was young. Yeah. My brother taught me a well lesson then.
Yeah, yep. I heard you were talking some shit.
I was talking smack. I was beating him in pool, and then he's like, well, bet your PlayStation. And boy, did I lose that PlayStation. So I learned that one.
It's one of those, like, it's putting your money where your mouth is. But I mean, I think now you're a little better at it.
Yeah. Well, funny thing is, he still has a PlayStation.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Doesn't have the skateboard deck anymore, though, I bet.
Nope, I don't. I got the skateboard deck.
Yeah, you ended up getting it eventually?
Yep.
Are you back out skating now?
I was going to, actually, but I haven't because I was sick. I thought about going. My buddy hit me up a week ago or so to go skate, and I didn't yet because I just wasn't feeling good, but definitely want to,
You skated a fair bit last year, though.
Yeah, off and on. It just kind of depends. It hits. It's hit or miss.
Is it like you used to skate like a lot back in the day.
Yeah.
Dude, like a lot. I found an edit from you at Paducah, and like, dude, those, like, some of the crooks that you were able to land is actually pretty nuts.
Yeah. That was probably back when I was sponsored by a board company and they put some videos out there.
Yeah. It was like, there was like it looked like just like a small box to a flat rail.
Yeah.
And just seeing you hit that over.
On it. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. I couldn't believe it. I mean, you'd always said that you had skateboarded, and then I found the video. I was like, oh shit, like he was actually legit.
Yeah.
I
kind of wanted to carry that out when I was younger, And
so what stopped that?
Drifting, man. My buddy got an RX-7, or actually he had a Honda Accord, and we used to put like the McDonald's trays under the rear tires.
Nice.
Pull the handbrake, drive around. And then his dad ended up buying him a RX-7. And as soon as he got it in, they were like, you want to try it? And I tried it and then got pulled over the very first night in it. Didn't even have my license, got arrested. Or not arrested, but the guy put me on the hood and everything, and I got a ticket and then lost my intermediate license. And so it took longer to get my real license, but the cop put on there, doing donuts and going sideways around a turn. So, but after that, I ended up getting a 240. And so me and my buddy, he had the RX-7. It was an FC, and then I had a S13 hatch, and we just started learning from there.
Ah, okay. Who had the LS FD?
That was me.
You had that too?
Yep.
Damn.
I was trading and flipping cars a lot out of high school. And then, blew up a turbo to 350Z, blew it up, and then sold it for a bunch of money still, and then went and paid cash for an LS swapped FD.
All right, we should run through as many of the cars that you remember.
Oh, that's not gonna be good.
All right. Well,
I mean, I know all of them, but there's just a ton of them. And
hey, I'm down. We got time. We just started.
Oh, geez. Yeah. So started out with a Honda Civic. Traded for a Chevy Colorado truck. Traded for a 3000 GT VR4.
Damn.
Which was all-wheel drive. Now, that car was sick. I was in high school with that car. It did 160.
Allegedly.
Probably would go faster, but that's as fast as I would go in it. I also did all-wheel drive drift donuts in it. That's on YouTube. Still have it on YouTube. And everyone called me crazy for doing it. I was trying to drift that car a lot, actually.
Is that when you got the nickname McBoostin, or did that come later?
Nope. The McBooston name came, I was this young kid, got on a car form and was like talking about, oh, dude, I want to go 160 on the interstate, And as soon as I did that, all these guys called me idiots and, there's kids on the street and families in cars and all this stuff, and which they were right, So I got this bad rep right off the bat. And then I got the 240, traded the 3000 GT for the 240. Dumbest trade. The 240 was not worth it at all. But, I was dumb. That's what I wanted. And I was still skating at that moment. I traded the 240 as I was going to meet a skate sponsor. And then after that, honestly, skating really slowed down. I started drifting the 240 a lot. It was in high school. I SR swapped it in automotive class in high school. And that was really cool, which is probably what kind of got my automotive skills going. And then the 240, I was drifting a lot, did a drift event in Nashville. And yeah, so that kind of started the drifting career stuff, or starting to actually drift was with the 240. But yeah, it was a lot of trading going on at the very beginning. I also had a Fox Body Mustang at the same time as the 240. That was kind of my brother had one, so I always wanted one. But yeah, and then after that, it just kind of traded up from there, got the 240 going, sold it, got another 240, or S14. Didn't really drift it though, was just kind of street racing it. Sold it. I don't know, the list just keeps going and going. And the 240 actually, that's 14. This is actually where everything kind of changed. So I paid $5,500 or $6,000 for this S14. I changed the turbo setup on it, and in a month or two, I posted it for sale for a dumb price of $9,500, and I sold it in 24 hours. Damn. I posted on Zilvia.net. Some dude drove really far, bought the car, so I went and bought a 350Z the next day with the money. And back then, 350Zs were relatively, kind of fresh. People were crazy if you got one. So, and then the 350Z, I drifted a lot though. Turboed it, blew it up as well. Then that's whenever I told you I got the LS swapped FD. And then what was probably pretty dumb was selling the LS swapped FD and buying a 240 shell and an S10 the daily. Built the 240 shell into an LS swap car because when I went to my first drift event with the S13 hatch, there was a dude named there, Tyson Schmidt. He's actually not even that far from me, Cape Girardeau, Missouri, a couple hours away. Dude had an S13 coupe. It was on some NASCAR 15-inch wheels, but it had an LS in it. And dude, this thing sounded insane. And I'm 16 or 17 years old, and I seen that car and was dude, I'm LS swapping a 240 one day. And I didn't have a lot of money, when I was that young. So seeing that car was just insane. And at that time, it was perfect condition. It was probably still to this day. If you seen that car to this day, it would still be super notable, and people would still be awed by it, So I ended up getting an S13 coupe, white, ended up LS swapping it, drifting it. And then that's kind of whenever I started getting really big into trying to compete a little bit. And then some dude posted up a 350Z shell that was ready for an LS, and I jumped on it. So sold the S13 shell to a dude in New York, bought the 350Z shell. So I was back in the 350Z, and that was the 350Z that it was notable for everything. It was, went from NALS, single turbo LS, twin turbo LS, back to single. But that was the car that went on 1320. Cletus, Garrett Mitchell drove it in a couple of videos and made it pretty big. So that's kind of where the break, my social media gained a lot of following from 1320. But what was cool about that car was I was street racing it at 1320 for TX2K back in 2017. But I was also competing in Pro-Am for my first year with it. So people were so mad that I had this 1,100 horsepower drag car but drifting in a Pro-Am series, and I ended up getting third place in the series, got my Pro 2 license with this car. And honestly, I probably wasn't ready to move up to Pro 2, but then Midwest Drift Union shut down that year. So I had to make the jump in theory. I was just like, screw it, I'm going to do it, and that's kind of like snowballed into my career, of like how I even got into pro, is by getting that car and then just running Pro-Am for the fun of it because I like to compete. And yeah. So are we still going on about all these cars because it still isn't over?
I mean, might as well. I
just feel like this might be boring to people, but
no, you're good, man. Dude, everybody loves the story of the stable.
Yeah, I guess, but it's just like so many cars,
So, but you
several trucks and stuff, too, along those lines.
Yeah. Well, okay, but let's stick with like the drifting side of things because you ran the Z then in 1 year of Pro 2, or did you go right into the G?
So I had the 350Z for so long, like I'm trying to think exactly how many years, but I had that car for a while. Yeah. I mean, like I said, it went through so many stages, and dude, that thing was beat. It was rough. The quarter panels, the hood. I mean, the roof was even like messed up from, the hood flying off on it and just crazy stuff. I actually did 200 mile an hour in that car on the interstate. And when I did, everything went off of it. Like the pillar pieces went off of it. The side skirts came off of it. I mean, things just flew off of it. And they were like mounted factory properly, So that's it's
not
pretty
meant
crazy.
To go that fast, man.
Exactly. But after that car, or with that car, I was just like, man, you can't, actually to take it back, like what really got me to FD was, or in the competitive drifting, everyone was like telling me to go watch. A couple of my friends was like, hey, we're going to go watch Formula Drift in Atlanta. And, I'm sitting there in the keyhole, and I'm just one of those dudes that, like, when I've been young, I've always wanted to be like professional at something. Like, when I was young, I was playing every sport, basketball, baseball, soccer, and I was very good at all of them, but I never stuck to one sport and then, and follow through with it. I would just be good at like all of them and not really focus. And then when skateboarding came, that was like my, like my niche. It was like, cool, I'm going to be a professional skateboarder, and this is what I'm going to do in my life. And then drifting came and killed that, But then whenever I went and watched that Road Atlanta, I was like, all right, guys, y'all are going to see me. I'm going to be doing this. I'm going to be going down that hill right there in front of y'all. And, they all were like, what? No way, I was like, nope, that's what I'm going to do. And so, like, I straight up just set a goal from then that's what I wanted to do. And the Z kind of, helped me bridge that gap to get there. And then I kept, like, watching FD and, I kept asking a couple questions about cars and chassis and stuff. And people kept saying, like, the 370 was a better chassis, the suspension-wise. Well, the G37 that's where the G37 came in. So my buddy Jonathan Nairn in North Carolina, I was helping them out all the time. And their buddy Nick Snyder had got this G37 that was wrecked, and I was always eyeballing it, talking to him, trying to get the car. And then something happened. They needed to get the car out of their way, and they're like, hey, if you come get the car this weekend, you get it this cheap. I was like, cool, bet. And so I went and got the car. That was going to be my FD build. Built it. It didn't get done in time, like, for me to actually test it. Made it to round one, though, Road Atlanta, which was, like this huge staple to my career. Like, this is what I was going to do. And the car didn't work. The car worked, actually, but it was like the first time driving the car. Didn't qualify barely. I think it was like 17th or 18th, my first year. So, unfortunately, didn't qualify that round. And then round two came out swinging, qualified second in St. Louis. I think Raleigh Sexsmith out-qualified me there, which you were on his team.
Yes, I was. That's how you and I met.
Yep.
I do remember that. You guys ended up battling for, it was third or something like that. I thought you guys battled in St. Louis as well, though.
Oh, no. I went against Craig Felipe, and he took me out.
Right. Yeah, no, you guys definitely went out at Irwindale.
Yeah, I didn't do very good my first year
it was
at all. Like, I qualified good once, qualified decent the last round, and that was really it.
Yeah.
That year.
Okay. Yeah, maybe I'm thinking the second round, but maybe that was Texas. You guys went at it. I know there was one battle you guys had.
Yeah, Texas.
I was like, shit, this is going to be good because you guys were the two fastest cars on grid at that point.
Yeah, that was Texas.
Yeah. Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah, our connection, that's where you and I had met was you had pitted next to us.
Yeah.
And I was like,
y'all were replacing the floor in the trailer.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, that was it. The floor had rotted out because like a bunch of water got in. And we're like, I think we got knocked out early or something. So it was like, okay, let's just tear the floor out and start screwing it in.
For sure.
And then I think I ended up sitting in your car too because you had a weird seating position in it.
Yeah, super far back.
Yeah, I remember because Riley's not a huge dude. He's
he sat in it. He was like, there's
5'6".
no way.
He couldn't even reach.
Yeah.
I think he's taller than 5'6". Now I feel bad. I think he listens to these too. But he's just a wee man. And then you did 1 year. Okay, so you ended up getting second in Pro 2.
That was year 3 though.
It was okay.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was 3 years.
20.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that would have been Dmitry Brutsky, right?
Yeah, he got first.
Right. Yeah, it's funny because I think you guys had like a giant party when you got second, and didn't they have somebody come out dressed like Dmitry to talk to you with like a shirt on or something?
Man, you know.
Yes, it never settled, right?
See, you asked Floyd way too much stuff. Man.
I told you I was going to do research.
Yeah, so they threw a party for me. They were like, we're going to have the cash racing party. And then I showed up, and then this dude shows up as my brother's buddy, and he's dressed like Dmitry, and they got the never settle stuff giving me crap because they took first place. Oh, man.
This is what I love about that relationship. Man, as soon as I knew I was doing this podcast, I text Ryan, and then Ryan's like, no. You need to talk to Floyd.
Yeah, that's not good. This could not be good at all.
I was going to call your mom and like just like kind of shoot the shit and see what she'd give, but
that's not going to go good. Yeah.
No?
No.
The one time I heard her on the phone, I was like, oh my God, this lady's amazing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that could have gotten very interesting.
That could have. I didn't go that far. But I still got more. I still got notes, don't worry.
Jeez.
And then second in Pro 2 in 2020, and then 2021 was first year in Pro, and that was in the Z as well.
No, the G.
Or sorry, that was in the G.
Yep. So, and that was like where we found the limits of the G. Like the G did pretty well in Pro 2. And then G, honestly, the G was heavy. That's super long. The wheelbase was 112 inches. Long, one of the longer cars, you know. It just wasn't doing. It was like I had to maximize everything to get it to be able to run with those guys, and that mean the car was super hard to drive. And then so I wasn't doing as good in it. I felt like, you know, and then came out, you know, fresh chassis with the E46. Decided that was going to be the best move. It was actually JTP's fault because I was like, hey, I'm going to build another G37 chassis because I feel like I can build it a lot lighter and make it work. And at the time, I still liked the G37 because it was different. And honestly, sometimes I kind of regret. I wish I would have tried that, making that chassis lighter and doing a better job at building it because that was my first pro like level car I built. But anyways, listen to JTP. Built E46 probably wasn't a bad idea. And except for crashing it at round 1 and totaling a brand new chassis.
Yeah, that was like, what, 7 laps?
I think it was 7 laps.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't many. But
nope.
Also led to probably one of the greatest quotes in Formula Drift history, at least in my opinion. Like, dude. I should have got the full quote, but essentially along the lines of like, I think my foot's broken. Someone just get me a coilover so I can get back out there. Though.
Yeah, something along those lines. I don't know. There's a lot of adrenaline. I was just saying whatever was on my mind, I guess, and that's what ended up coming out.
Yeah, it was broken. But the thing was,
a lot of people was like, dude, you didn't break your foot. I'm like, bro, like, I'm tough. I know what I broke. Like, I know when I break something. And when I hit that wall, like, I instantly knew something had happened to my foot. And then when I went to step out of the car, I was like, yep. You know, like, and when that happened, I was just like, I was kind of like done. I was like, all right, car's done. There's no way. And then I started looking at the car and I was like, and then they put me in the tow truck and I'm like, on the way back, I'm like, you know what? I called everyone. I'd already threw my headset and everything out. And then I called everyone. I was like, hey, everyone get everything we have for the right front. And at the time, I think we had nothing for the right front. So first round, new chassis. I don't think I had any of my spares. Luckily, S's team and like Sorensen's team, they all came in. Everybody was like hands on deck trying to fix that thing. Simon's team. So luckily, we did not fix it in time because if they would have dropped that car on the ground, I would have drove it and it was not going to be safe. So I probably would have wrecked it again.
Yeah.
That thing was bad.
What did you end up having to do when you brought it back? I know there's a bar now, like near the strut tower.
Oh yeah, the strut tower is super weak. Yeah, it tweaked the firewall, tweaked the trans tunnel. Now that I took the car all the way back apart over the winter, I didn't even realize it was that bad.
It rippled that far in.
Oh yeah, so that chassis is probably done, but I'm still using it. My thing is because as a lot of people have heard and seen my posts, I want to build the XLR for next year. So I just didn't see a point in taking all the time and to build a new chassis, another E46 chassis when this one can still work. You know, it's still kind of bent back into where it needs to be and a bar welded in the place to keep it where it should be.
Yeah, let's talk about the XLR. So where did this, because that's sick. So where did this come from?
Well, so this is actually going to be pretty funny. I mentioned that I liked the XLR.
Okay.
Before. And then we were eating lunch and my buddy was like, or actually I was eating lunch on a Sunday. My brother was like, why keep the BMW? He's like, why don't you build a C6 since you love your C6 so much? I was like, man, you know what? And then all of a sudden, literally within like a few minutes, I was like, you're right. I'm going to build a C6. So then I left that lunch, was like, yep, I'm building a C6 now. Next day, Monday comes, I'm eating lunch with another buddy. He's like, yeah. He said, like, I seen where like an XLR is the same thing as a Corvette. I was like, what? I was like, no way. I've always wanted to, have one of those cars. I always thought those were cool and they look kind of like a Corvette. He's like, yeah, supposedly it's just like a C5 or something. I was like, So I started looking into it. Sure enough, same exact chassis. I had messaged Josiah at FDF, was like, yo, like, do you know if this chassis is the exact same? He's like, yeah, I think so. So started looking into it, and then I was like, that would be sick. So then I started asking the questions. I messaged a dude that built the Pikes Peak one, which I think his name's Ben. Told him, like, hey, started asking questions about it. And I was like, hey, I'm wanting to build one of these for a pro FD car. And then what kind of sucked was he was like, well, like, do you have a license? Like, do you plan on running Pro-Am? And like, he had no idea that I was already a Pro 1 driver. So I was like, yeah, man, I've already competed in FD for a couple of years, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh, well, yeah. He's like, yeah. He's like, it's just like a C6. He's like, they're exact same chassis. He's like, I literally bolted the C6 drivetrain right into mine. I was like, sick. So he's like, but the body panels, blah, 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 are expensive, and which I already knew. Sorry. But started asking around, seeing if I could find some people that were interested in molding it. Rise Fab recently started getting into making molds for doing carbon panels and stuff like that, and they were like interested in that we could do something with it. And I was like, cool. So that made it even like more of a better idea to me to get involved in it. So then I was like, started looking into these cars, and I'm like, someone was like, hey, do you know how much the headlights and taillights are in these things? And I was like, so I look it up and I'm like, whoa, like $5,000 for, headlights and taillights for these things used. So I was like, oh, that's not good. So obviously we're going to have to make molds for the headlights and taillights and run LEDs behind them and stuff. But other than that, like after I started looking at them, I was like, dude, these cars are super expensive. So I kind of like the idea kind of went away. Because I was like, I'm not going to find one, that cheap. And then all of a sudden, this one like popped up for parts, and I was like, yo, I found it instantly. It was like, hey, can I get the whole thing? Like, I don't want you to part it out. And he's like, well, give me an offer. And he'd already sold the headlights and taillights, unfortunately. And he only sold them for $500. So I lost out on this huge deal on that, just those. And so he's like, no, I still have the entire car. The chassis is perfect, just no drivetrain. And he like told me this dumb cheap number. Like he wanted me to give an offer, and I was like, no. And I was going to offer way more. And he was like, yeah, here, I just need it out of my way. I'm moving soon, and I have no way to move it. It has no wheels. And I'm like, deal, bet. I want it 100%. Like let's lock it in right now. Mm-hmm. And now I have one sitting in the shop. So,
have you started wrenching on it at all, or it's just kind of
not really? I'm getting another part C6 so I could get the subframes and stuff. Okay. So I could get it through under there, so I could at least make the car rollable. Right now, it's just like on this little chassis cart thing. So, obviously, goal is to get it movable, get it where I can roll it. Maybe try to get FDF to go ahead and give me some suspension parts for it, get the angle kit and stuff on it. So at least that stuff will be knocked out and out of the way. Get it to Rise Fab, get some body panels made, cage and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, Josiah is obviously putting in a lot of work to that chassis right now with his build.
Exactly, and that's one of the things that's like really got me like extremely interested in doing it. Is I can just buy all these parts that he's already done the thought out and process and everything on it, and just bolt it right on. Yeah,
that'll be sick, especially because like it's clear he's excited about that chassis right now. That build
exactly.
Have you been following that build?
Oh, 100%,
dude,
it's sick.
It's crazy, but that's what happens when you have an engineer and you go, hey, you have unlimited time, almost unlimited resources to just build the perfect drift car according to him.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, I'm excited. I
love him. I mean, my C6 is a C-time car, and I love that thing, which is why I kind of snowballed into why I'm getting that, wanting to do the XLR.
Is it, like, I'm trying to, like, even find, like, the way to ask the question, but, like, comparing your C6 to even your BMW now, like, is that C6 so much closer to pro-ready than like, people would expect?
No. I mean, it is and it isn't. Like, the C6 is obviously great, probably a Pro-Am car out of the box with, some simple mods. Yeah. But I feel like to take that chassis to the next level, it's actually probably a pretty big deal. Because then you got to either be, like, filled, run a sequential with the quick change in the back and keep the transmission in the back, or then you got to run a quick change in the back and then a transmission in the front and redo a few things like that. So you're going to kind of have to make like some big changes to the car at that point, so which is not far off from like if you're going to build like a 240 or something though. So,
okay. So it's one of those.
I mean, if you're doing a full build, you're doing a full build. I feel like the chassis doesn't matter as much. Like you're still doing the same things. You still got to make a quick change fit. You still got to, put a different transmission in it. You still got to. The better thing is on this is like I'm putting an LS in an LS car. Or, well, essentially it's the same. So I'm putting an LS back in an LS car, so it makes that a little easier. There's some off-the-shelf parts that you can buy,
So I guess with that, like obviously you wanting, and I've always kind of run, I wouldn't say ridiculous cars because it's not like any of them were like ridiculous, but just different, right?
Well, I mean, I've only ran one car that's different. It's just a G37.
I guess, but it's so different in the grand scheme of like FD.
But
right?
It is and it isn't because there's already been two in FD.
Who else had one?
Robbie Nishida drove one and Charles.
Oh, shit. You're right. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. I forgot about that.
So, and actually, I'd messaged some of those guys for hints and tips, and like Charles Inc. really wasn't having it. He's like, or I had posted once, like, hey, I got a podium with a G37. He was like, yeah, not in pro. So, like, it's pro sec or pro 2, So,
savage.
Yeah, it's funny. But I think that chassis is still not that bad.
I mean, there's still time. Maybe after the XLR's done, you go back and build a G.
No.
You say that now.
Nope.
Would you recommend a G for somebody like competing in Pro-Am?
If they want to go through the full extent of, really stripping it out and building it. But right now, dude, Pro-Am is nasty.
It's crazy.
Like, Pro-Am is not Pro-Am whenever I was in Pro-Am.
Yeah.
I mean, Pro-Am, I had a Pro-Am car back then like they do now. So I guess, you know, maybe I could have been at the beginning of that, you know, start of that trend.
I know what you're saying.
You know, so like I was showing up with a car that was capable of 1,000 horsepower, full angle kit, coilovers and everything. But I was only running at like 650 in Pro-Am, which the other guys probably had like 400, 500.
So not quite worth it. Like not out of the box. Like maybe as a grassroots car.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a good car. I think if you want to build it, it's definitely capable of Pro-Am, no problem. It's very capable of Prospec as well. I just don't think there's a difference between Prospec and Pro. I feel like a big enough difference that chassis made that difference. I think it's great to have that chassis in Prospec still.
Do you think that jump is still too big between Prospec and Pro?
I do not think it's too big.
No.
Like
it seems like a lot of the cars especially guys coming up now, like those Prospec cars are, I mean, obviously minus whatever changes now that Kevin's implemented, but like they're pro level cars that are just tuned down.
Exactly. They're really close already. So, and then obviously, like, I mean, Stuckey's already shown that he came last year on a 255. He kept his car in Prospec trim and came and still finished in almost top half still or something like that. Yeah. I don't know what he finished, but it was something. It was still pretty good.
Or Rome still running his chassis all the way through.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So I mean, it shows that it's not that far off, you know.
What about like obviously driver skill is a bit bigger of a jump, but like what do you think is the thing that like those guys don't know that they should? Like what do you, when you're talking to Prospec guys now and they're like, oh, like I'm gonna go up to Pro, like do you tell them something? You're like, hey, that's cool, but you have to know this.
Because I was that guy that was just like, I didn't listen to anybody and went ahead and made the jump. But honestly, dude, the people that are like in Prospec and that are doing well, they know. And a lot of those guys are even holding back because they know, you know, what it's going to take. I mean, look at Dimitri and Derek and those guys, you know, like Robert was the only one that we've seen that just came in, did the work, and then moved right up instantly. And, you know, I think Robert's going to do good as well. So we'll just have to see how that goes. But the biggest thing is like having a tire deal, you know, getting some sort of tire under your belt, you know, and not having to pay a bunch of money for them, you know.
Hey, everybody, Jacob here from the Formula Drift podcast. We have an awesome deal for you. So if you head over to shopfd.com and use coupon code podcast23, you're going to save 20% on any merch. So anything you can find on that website, use podcast23 at shopfd.com. Save yourself 20%. Hats, shirts, lanyards, whatever. Just use the code. Save yourself some money. So why not? You know, don't stop listening. Wait till the show's done. But then head over, shopfd.com. Use podcast 23. We'll see you guys out there. Is it like that much of it, the financial side? Like, is that?
Well, if you think about it in Prospec, like you have to run this tire. This is how much that tire costs. Well, when you come to Pro, like you're not guaranteed that you have a tire. Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess you can purchase them through tire stacks, but unless you have an unlimited budget, like sometimes that's maybe not be your best option, you know?
Yeah, it's just expensive. I mean, that's
what it is. But I think with them allowing other brands and stuff in is definitely a huge help, and I think it's definitely going to help drivers be able to move up if they want to.
So I know you like already don't want me to talk about Vtour more because I mean I think they're incredible, but like what has that been like switching onto that tire? I'm not like I don't want to like shit on GT or anything, but like you already look so much better on this tire, and it's a 255.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the tire's there. It's definitely competitive. Definitely better than what they've tried to bring into the series previously. But I don't think it's like something that's just like mind blowing better. I just think what has happened is Vtour is chose certain drivers for their tire and have chose the proper drivers that are hungry that are doing well right now, that are exceeding, and that are showcasing their talent the best that they can and giving them a good, product to be able to do that on. And they just happen to pick the drivers that want it right now. Like, look, Rome has already been moving up. So they got Rome under their belt, So look, boom, he's got a good tire under him now. I always said Rome will be a threat whenever he has a decent tire. And round 1 already shows that. And then Stuckey, like that dude shreds too. And he already liked the 255 from before. And then so his car was already set up. He was ready for it and he's hungry. And then for me, like I've been more than hungry. Like I want this more than anyone there, like that's what I want, like bad. Well, so and for someone to believe in me, I think it just helped my confidence even more. The tire is good though. I just don't think it's like something that people need to be like, whoa, this thing's, way better than every other tire brand out there. Mm-hmm. But I definitely think it's something that can compete. I'm very curious to see how we're going to do with the 285s.
Yeah, I mean,
see, in theory, Long Beach is an equalizer, I feel like. Like, you can get away with a small tire at Long Beach. Like, if you told me what track would you have to run FD with a smaller tire if you had to, and I'd say Long Beach or New Jersey. Mm-hmm. So those are the 2 tracks, and luckily the first round was Long Beach, and that's what we were able to do.
Yeah, I guess that worked out in your favor.
Perfectly.
Have you driven on the 285s at all yet?
No, I'm supposed to get them soon, though. Be able to test a little bit before Atlanta, and then I think it's going to be perfect. I think it's going to be exactly what we need.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see, like, how that wheel and tire combo looks on the car, too, because, like, one, those light speeds are wild.
Yes. Those wheels are sick.
They're
Patrick killed it.
So good looking. Yeah. That as soon as I saw the car roll off the trailer with those, I was like, oh shit, this looks great.
Yep.
So I think with the 285 on there too to kind of fill that wheel well a little bit well.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, I think the 255 definitely takes away a lot of the look of the car in the back. But hey, you know what? May look dumb, but it works.
I mean, I don't think it looks that bad. It reminded me very much of, like, obviously what a Prospec car or Pro 2 car looked like.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which sucks sometimes. Like, I can't be like Stuckey. Stuckey's got his car over there tucking a 255. And I'm like, dude, if I tuck a 255, my whole chassis will be on the ground.
Yeah, you don't run yours, like, exceptionally low or anything else. It's a pretty standard ride height.
Yeah, there's reasons for that, though.
Yeah. What I guess, like, what is a reason? Like,
well, I mean, it just to keep the grip on it. I mean, the anti-squat on it, So with the car being a trailing arm car, you don't really want to lower it too much.
Mm. Okay, is that just the geometry in the rear end? Then, like, you basically get to that point where it's not.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, does it get bouncy at that point, or just like you lose all grip? That just
depends. That's set up. Like that depends on how you want to set it up.
I'm trying to get secrets out of here, man. You're killing me.
Hey, I'm not the one to get the secrets out of. I didn't even check where my suspension even was at. So
I know you told me that. Did you count your clicks after?
I counted my clicks the other day.
Was it even?
Nope. One was way off.
Do you think guys spend too much time fiddling with setup?
Dude, that's not. If you know what, if that makes that person feel more comfortable in the car and they know exactly what they got, dude, that's what they need. I don't know, and you know what? Sometimes that is, but like for round 1, my car just worked. It didn't break. We weren't working on it. It just worked. Round 2 can come and we could never make a lap. Something can dumb break.
Yeah.
There's no telling. Like it's just what I've always said was an FD, and what I was wanting to prove is that I always felt like a guy with no money, the lowest budget team, can go to FD, and as long as their car works and the driver is in a good mindset, you could win the event. Now, obviously, I haven't won it yet, but I feel like we could get pretty close to doing it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the mindset is huge. And
we had one crew guy. Cameron was working his butt off.
Do you have more crew coming in this year? Or?
Yeah, absolutely. Something just happened last minute, and the other guy couldn't show up. We may have even a couple extra guys for the rest of the year. So,
That's good.
That wasn't planned or anything.
I know.
That's how it happened, So,
well, and
but you know what? It worked
lot.
out. It's funny,
Yeah. I mean, maybe that's what you just have to do. Just run one crew guy and then shit won't break.
I don't know, though. I was getting out of the car and helping Cameron, too, so.
That's fair. That's fair. So I don't know. Has this been like announced? Do we want to talk about like what your plan is for this year? Like the new, I guess, teammate, really.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't know. We haven't really released anything, but yeah, we could probably talk about that. I mean, it's not really
this doesn't come out for another week, so you got like a week to.
Yeah, it might be close. No, he'll be fine. I'll tell him. But yeah, so we are like partnered up with Connor O'Soley. I guess a few people probably already know anyway. So he's an up and coming driver, first year in Prospec. Dude's gonna kill it. He's killed it in clutch kickers, podiums, and clutch kickered a lot. So dude's car rips. I mean, he has stayed driving on a GT255, which is exactly what he's going to be competing on this year. So he's already familiar with everything. So I feel like the dude's going to shred. I'm going to be a spotter actually this year as well. Yep.
Damn, I didn't know that.
I think that's going to be good. I think I can help him a lot in that way too. And actually, I think it might help me too as a driver. So I look forward to doing that. That's going to be a busy weekend in Atlanta, which is coming up in a couple weeks, or probably be a week when this comes out. So, but yeah, keep a lookout for him. We're both in some E46s. I think we're going to do some damage.
I think so too. I mean, I've seen footage of him driving, and it's aggressive, but it's like it's not attacky. Like he's not diving like dive bombing guys.
Well,
he's just there.
It depends.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to tell him to chill out sometimes.
Are you? I know we talk. Like, are you gonna end up going and doing some testing this weekend?
I'm gonna try, but I'm not too sure yet. It depends on the weather and stuff like that. So it'd been really cool if I knew I was gonna have some 285s to drive on, but I'm not too sure yet.
Yeah, it'd be good. What do you? Let's like peek behind like the curtain. So what do you do for a living?
Well, I have my own performance shop now, just called Cash Racing LLC. Basically just do a bunch of LS work, DOD deletes on Chevy trucks, bunch of cam installs on Corvettes. Been getting a little bit into doing full engine builds now. So been pumping out some engines, basically just LS work though. Some custom fab work, some turbo kits and stuff there, here and there. But yeah, basically just some performance work whenever not racing.
Nice. Are you anything cool in the shop right now, or just?
Got like an LSA swapped Genesis with a full rebuild, a couple LS swapped cars finishing up, LS swapped truck, like old Chevy truck. Just did like a C6 Corvette, did a rebuild on it. So yeah, usually we got some pretty cool stuff coming in and out. So
I'm not like super knowledgeable, like obviously not to the same level you are on the LS side of things. Like what if you are looking to LS swap a drift car, like, let's say maybe grassroots, but you want to be able to kind of move up a little bit more. What are you looking for in like that base engine?
I mean, the ideal thing is you can get an LS3 motor.
Okay.
But they're like, from $3,500 to $5,000 for a full pull out probably. But that's ideal, makes over 400 easy, put a cam in it, put a good, just put some good supporting mods on it, and it can make 500 wheel. So it probably gets you pretty far, with that. I think that's ideal, but if you're going super cheap, everybody's just trying to put a 5.3 now. You could do a small 5.3 build, but for me, I think if you're going to do a 5.3 build and you're trying to make decent power, you got to put some high compression pistons or something in it, big cam, and then you're starting to spend a bunch more money at that point. Might as well just done the LS3.
Oh, okay. So it gets to that point of diminishing return where it's like,
And, like also like what I did before was stock bottom ends with camshaft, head studs, and a turbo, which is still pretty cheap. And you can make, 800 wheel pretty easy that way. I ran Pro-Am Prospec with stock blocks, for a while.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I like I said, I've never done an LS swap. I've never had it. I mean, I've had an LS truck, but that's about it. But
yeah, the most common thing is everyone wants someone LS swap. So they do a 5.3, and then sometimes they don't do anything, no camera, no nothing. And then it makes like 250 horsepower. And it's like, this LS swap wasn't really worth the extra 50 horsepower of the 200 I had. So I try to tell everyone, like, yeah, at least get a camshaft put in it. Easy way to make some power, make it sound a lot better. So it's just most of the time, if I do anything, it's basically going to have a camshaft at least in it.
What I guess, like, where can you find those LS3s? What chassis are you looking for?
You can get them in Corvettes, Camaros, but they got to be newer, like 08 models.
Okay.
Yeah, so they are a little bit harder to find, but you can just buy an LS3 crate motor too. I'm not really sure exactly how much those are anymore, though. It used to be you can just call Summit, get LS3 motor.
It's going dropped off. I wish Amazon probably has them soon.
Probably.
It's next day LS. They really should get into that. You imagine, like, especially that track delivery. I know.
I feel like you could deliver to the track anyway.
Yeah, but like, can you imagine just getting like a crate engine dropped off at the track? Like, you pop it, like, let's Atlanta. You pop it on the Wednesday practice. You don't need it till.
Yeah, that ain't happening. But these days, that's not. You get lucky if you can get push rods right now.
Really?
Well, I don't know if that's true now, but it was recently, like not too long ago.
Jesus.
Yeah, valves are a big deal right now.
Huh.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I've been toying with the OM606 Mercedes diesel. Like, after
I don't know nothing about that.
I know. I like diesel swaps. I've always liked diesel swaps. So I just want to build another drift car. That's the thing.
Yeah. Yeah, you can somewhat drive,
I'm not fully admitting I'm not the best driver. I'm not the best driver. At least you didn't wreck our ice car.
This is a good point. I did not wreck our ice car.
After I specifically told you not to wreck the ice car.
You gave me so much shit.
Someone wrecked the ice car.
You gave me so much shit. You're like, hey, listen, we're going all the way to Norway. Just please don't wreck the car. I'm like, you know what? I won't. I didn't wreck anything all week.
Hey, I only wrecked once.
Technically twice. You did also kill an engine.
That doesn't count as a wreck.
I mean, you wrecked an engine.
No.
There was no oil in it. That's not your fault. That wasn't your fault.
That was not my fault.
How obviously I know how much you enjoyed Norway, but let's I was obviously there with you if people listening couldn't figure that out. What was that like? What's now that you've had
it was a sick trip, right?
Yeah.
But for one, I like food. The food was horrible. There were a couple of places the food was decent. I guess the food that you cooked and made it more American by adding all the greasy stuff, that we like. And then Simon's place, that was some pretty good food. The rest of it, though, dude, like the Sprite that I had on the plane on the way home was the worst thing I'd ever drank in my life. I don't even know you can't even call it Sprite.
Was it labeled as Sprite?
Yeah, and it was horrible.
I wonder if it just used
I don't know, but it was
real sugar.
I know. It would have tasted decent.
The pizza at Matthias's shop was probably the funniest thing ever.
Yeah,
why did they cut it this way? And what is this sauce that's on this?
That was bad.
It was a pretty epic trip though, all things considered, minus the food.
Yeah, other than that, it was pretty good,
Nothing like driving through a snowstorm in a van with a trailer behind it through the mountains.
Yeah, I was sleeping because I could not deal with that. Gosh, was that so bad.
You were a pretty good passenger, but I get it. I'm a shit passenger too, so I tried not to give you shit for it, but I'm the same way. I'm no good in the passenger seat.
Yeah, I'm horrible in the passenger seat. Dude, I'm the absolute worst.
You were pretty good. We figured it out pretty quick. It was fun though. Do you, obviously I think you'd want to go back, but would you travel within the US to go ice drifting again?
Yeah, probably, but I think the whole aspect of it being with Norway and being with Simon and them just made it that much better. So I would probably, if I do it again, probably just rather travel and enjoy that again, Maybe try and make that like a yearly trip.
I started pricing out tickets to go to Gatbell.
Good. If you're glad you're getting that already taken care of for me.
I'm not paying for your ticket.
Well, yeah, you have to.
I do not have to.
Well, you could.
I could. That I could. Am I going to? Probably not. They're like $1,300 US right now.
Oh, yeah.
That shows you
That's
what the
nothing
difference
for you.
is. Oh, stop it.
You
Yeah, all
almost
that-
spend that in beanies.
Dude, so
You know how many of those things you've gotten?
I got 5 of the exact same one. So listen, the company that makes these, who I'm not going to mention anymore, I'm not going to give them any more free promotion because they do not answer emails and they do not answer my DMs. And I'm like, listen, I want to buy a case off of you. Like, I'm not even asking for a sponsorship or a deal. I want an entire case of these hats, and they won't answer anything. So I spent today on another website to figure out where they source these hats from so I can buy them in bulk and have them shipped here. And I can get them for like $1.50 a piece. So like I could buy a skid of these. Like
That right there. You just said you could buy a skid of them. You know, that's
Yeah.
at least one plane ticket for me.
what would you rather? Would you rather the fans get teal beanies or you go to Norway again?
Norway. Dude,
Okay.
actually, I don't know. That beanie is definitely covering up some. Whew.
What are you talking about? I got a full head of hair
leave
under
it.
here.
You better leave it on.
It's I did get a haircut though.
Yeah, just leave
you
it.
saw before
Don't
the
even.
haircut.
Don't even. I'm telling you.
Man, don't talk to me about hair, Mr. Dreadlocks. So you can't say shit
Hey,
about
you
my
ain't
hair.
got nothing on that. You ain't got no photo. You can tell these people all about it.
I'll find the photo. I'll get it posted. I'll put it in the show notes.
No, you ain't.
I got sources.
Nope.
Yeah.
My brother ain't got that photo.
He might.
He might be
I'll
able to get
text
it
him
though.
right now. Man, did Chili's ever get back to you?
I looked. I don't think so. Not yet. They replied on another post.
I know. On another one?
Well, you know, it looked like Jonathan commented on Chili's post today, so
Okay.
they
Good.
replied to that one.
Did they? Good.
Yeah,
Cool.
but I didn't know about it. You know,
We need to get you that Chili's money, man. I think honestly, like there's a Chili's at every single FD round.
they would literally probably give us a gift card, and the only thing that's going to happen is the weight of my car is going to go up, and that's not good. We need it light right now.
Here's what I'm thinking. Everybody listening, just go message Chili's, tag Jonathan in it, go comment on their stuff, and be like, sponsor this man. And then if you can get that sponsorship, we will throw a Chili's party at every FD round.
Yeah,
I will
don't
do
think
all
they,
the work
They
for
don't
you.
like that.
Why
Every
not?
time we walk into Chili's, they're like, "Oh, group of 10."
But we'll tell them ahead of time. We're not just going to show up with 10 people
All right, let's do it.
unannounced.
Let's do it.
I'm
Skillet
serious.
queso for everybody.
Skillet queso for everybody, and triple dippers and blackberry sweet tea,
Yes.
which they don't have in New Jersey, and they need to fix that.
What? They have blackberry tea. It's just not sweet.
Oh, right, and you just dump your sugar packets in.
No. Usually the blackberry will help it be sweet enough.
Oh, okay. Have you changed your order? We didn't get to go
Nope.
to Chili's in Long
I don't
Beach.
change it.
No. They changed the name of the, didn't they? It's like what used to be like the 3 for $10 or something.
Oh, yeah. It used to be like a 3 for $11 or something. Now it's the 3 for me.
Ah,
That's what's going to be on my car.
3 for me.
Yeah.
Would you put that, if they allowed a big ass wing again, would you put that on the wing?
Oh, dude. Are you serious? That's no doubt.
It's 3 for me.
It's like 3
I wish-
honks or something, you know?
I really wish they would allow you to run that wing.
Yeah. I don't think it would look good on the E46, though.
Yeah, fair.
I don't know. It's like not an. I don't know. I just don't feel like it would. It fits the car.
Because they removed it for wall events, right? But
Yeah, which is
they
like
would still allow
every
it.
single track besides Atlanta and Utah.
No. Yeah. Well, hey, that's 2. Let's bring the
Yeah,
big
we're
wing
getting
back.
better at that. Yeah, I guess.
We're getting better at not having walls.
Well, no,
I
I
don't
think
know.
we're just getting at some cooler tracks that have, road course type track,
Yeah. Is there one that you wish they would add?
What do you mean?
Is there
Track?
like a track that's not on the roster right now where you'd be like, hey, we should be going here?
Man, I don't know. I'm not really too sure. Unfortunately, I did like Texas a lot, but I heard there was some like really bad stuff that happened like between FD and, the Motor Speedway there. The conflict with like a NASCAR race and stuff. So I don't think that's like a very good option anymore with FD. But obviously, I liked Texas course, a lot. It was really fast and it was good, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of anything that they've gotten rid of that I'd like to see back. But I mean, I liked Erie. I know the pits needed work and stuff. It'd be cool to see them go back to like Vegas. Like obviously not the parking lot that they had previously, but like now that F1's going there, maybe that'll open up some more motorsport stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's just another street circuit. Like Long Beach is cool because it's a street circuit. I think that would be kind of neat to bring back.
Yeah.
Maybe Miami because they're same thing. They're doing stuff there.
Yeah. That would be pretty cool. Maybe change it out for Orlando.
Yeah. I think did they mention that Orlando's going away soon or the contract's up? I know there's talks about it. I don't
there's
know if
just like a
anything
talk.
official.
Maybe they're going to renew it though. If they did certain things, they said they would renew. I think.
Yeah,
I think there was like a problem with like being able to permanently do things to that track.
Right, that was it. Because there's like one bathroom there. That's it.
And they're not allowed to like permanently put bathrooms or something.
Yeah,
Or permanently put anything else.
I think we talked about this separately, but you're going back home in between Atlanta and Orlando?
Yeah, absolutely. It's not very far, so I can't risk losing a whole week, there. In between that, I don't think.
Yeah, it's a week in between. I am going to fly home. I'm not like, I'll be so tired for that. But
no, you should just stay, man.
What it is. I can't. Same thing. I got too much to do.
Oh, yeah.
I got to record podcasts.
Every time I talk to you, you're not doing anything.
What are you talking about? Every time Jonathan calls me, literally the first question is, what are you doing? And I always am very specific as exactly what I'm doing at that moment. One, to like let you know if you're interrupting me, which normally you don't care. You're like, okay, cool. And then whatever it is.
Well, you answered the phone, so it means you got time for something.
No, that's fair. That's fair. But I'll be like, yeah, I'm cooking this, or I'm doing dishes, or I'm putting my kids to bed or something. But it's all good. And
then I'll be like, okay, cool, I'll let you go. And then you're like, no, what's up?
Yeah. Or I'll start asking you questions, and they're like, I'm still doing something.
Yep.
I'm busy. I got to take calls and do shit at the same time.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, it's all good. Any other fun plans this year? Maybe like resurfacing your rock crawling career or something like that?
Dude, you're so done. Oh.
Come on.
You know what? That would have been pretty cool.
What? Rock crawling? You couldn't.
No, so what Jake was talking about is I almost traded the 350Z that I'm talking about, that it was so cool. It was LS swapped. I almost traded it for this really cool rock crawler that I thought was this great idea.
Yeah.
Dude, honestly, the rock crawler was really cool. It sucked that it had a Ford motor in it, and that's probably why I didn't get it, because it was leaking and stuff. But this guy drove like all the way from Oklahoma. I mean, he was giving me an open trailer and a rock crawler for my 350Z. So, like, in honesty, it was a pretty good deal, I thought.
And you said no?
Luckily, my brother talked me out of it, because the rock crawler definitely needed some work. And I don't even think I had a truck at the time I had a truck, but I don't think it was going to pull this rock crawler. But I was probably going to try. The rock crawler just wasn't as nice as the dude said it was. And I was going to get bored with it very quickly, probably break it very quickly. And my brother talked me out of it, so it was a great thing I did not trade for that, because obviously that car is what kind of made the career of this, what started it all.
So that was before the 1320 stuff.
Yeah, it was like when it was just LS swapped NA. I was just street driving it, I did some like State of Drift events, which was a Tennessee Drift Series thing. And other than that, though, I was going to trade it straight up for this dude. And I think what really was throwing it off was like the guy was willing to drive to me, was willing to give me a trailer with it, all this stuff. Like I kept telling him like, I'm not going to trade. I don't even have a trailer, and he's like, oh, I'll throw a trailer in, I'm like, well, I mean, if you drive here, I'll trade. And I thought the dude would say no. Dude shows up. So.
Wow.
Yep.
And then you still said no.
My brother did. He
did it for you.
No. I asked him what his opinion was. And so, you know what? Honestly, I don't even know what made me listen. I don't listen. Like,
No.
when I'm younger, like, I would be told what to do, and I would not. Like, if someone was like, you should do this. I'd be like, well, definitely going to do the other thing. So I don't even know what made me listen to him, but I'm glad I did. Thankful for him, you know?
I mean, I'm definitely glad you did too. We wouldn't be doing this right now.
Yeah, true.
I'm definitely not hosting a rock crawling podcast. I'm assuming they're out there.
Yeah. I'd be with JTP right now.
Is that what he's up to, rock crawling?
I'm sure.
Have you talked to him since? I haven't.
I talked to him. Yeah, I talked to him the other day. He called to tell me I sucked. So at Long Beach, and you know what? So he said something really funny, but I was like, he said if I get a podium, he would come back. So you just wait. And when I get a podium, first thing I'm saying is JTP's coming back.
Damn. Better make sure to clip that.
Yep.
Do you think you'd do it? Do you think you would actually?
Dude, he ain't gonna do it for me.
I mean, maybe. You seem like his best friend.
Yeah, right. Dude, me and him go. He gives me so much crap, dude. It's so funny.
But I've over the years of knowing you, I've now learned that like if you are giving someone crap, it means you actually like them. It's not a negative thing.
Yeah, it's like
which means,
you know?
Yeah.
Like if that dude's not giving you crap, he ain't liking you. Well, I don't know, dude. He's dishing it out, no matter what. But
yeah,
you kind of know sometimes.
I have to get him on here. Actually, I think. Yeah, I don't want to talk like the schedule too much. There's somebody else that I have coming on that'll be interesting. But
well, let's just
I definitely
spill it out. Let's just hear it. Maybe I should have done my homework and found out who all the people were going to be so I could tell everybody.
If people are listening this far in the podcast, so
no.
After it's funny. So like I've always watched a lot of like FD content, obviously. But like now I'm actively watching like as many vlogs and shit as I possibly can. So his little interaction with Kevin Wells that kind of got played up in his video, I'm like, oh, let's get Kevin on. And I wanted to get Kevin on anyways.
For sure.
Because like, I just think he's an interesting guy and I want to pick his brain over rule changes and stuff.
Great.
But yeah, but I mean, you have to say he's great because if you talk shit, he's going to fail your car out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, all you got to do is buy him some Dr. Pepper, dude, and you're good.
Just case of Dr. Pepper and that's it. I sent him a photo of a Whataburger with a Dr. Pepper milkshake. This was in Texas too. Like obviously it's Whataburger, but like I think it was at the event and like I'm 90% sure he was there the next day getting one. But no, I wanted to get him on anyways. And then when I saw the Kearney video with their little altercation, which wasn't really an altercation, I was just like, okay, this is more of a reason too.
Yeah, you know, it was funny when I watched that. I was kind of curious to see like. It was kind of hard to tell if Kevin was being for real or not, like, because Kevin likes to joke around sometimes.
He does like,
I'm not too sure on that situation though.
And this is where I'm at. I'm like, all right, it's still kind of fresh. Like, let's get him on.
That's
let's
good. I'm ready to see that and hear that.
Yeah. Who like, is there, do you even listen to the shows?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Who do you want to see on?
Man, I don't know. You kind of already, covered like some of the top dudes right off the bat.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think.
I know I want to get a bunch of like Prospec guys on. I want to make sure they get their due as well.
Oh,
like,
for sure.
Like I think getting Human on just once again, because I've known him for so long would be hilarious.
Yeah, for sure.
And he's such a wacky guy.
Yeah.
That like
for sure.
The show would be nuts.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of like who would be, who's someone that would. I'm kind of like trying to think of who the guy would be that's willing to like put some dirt out there and like doesn't care.
Who would talk shit.
Yeah, but it's hard, Matt didn't really do that.
It would have been JTP. I think it would have been JTP.
Maybe you have to bring JTP on here.
I think so.
He's still, it's part of it. You can still bring him back on here.
Yeah, there's nothing saying I can't. I mean, that's the upside is like no one.
Maybe
telling
you
me
bring him on and then
can't.
you find out a little bit more on why, like his decisions and stuff like that. Maybe.
Yeah,
now he's gonna hate me.
It's fine.
No,
I agree. I do want to understand that decision. Like, I get it. I get his response on it. And I think it's super cool that he wants to help his kid and get into it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure.
But like also the like pride of the teal and blue to be like, nah, if they're not in, I'm not in. And like he also had a couple rough seasons. Like, so it was maybe one of those like, yeah, it's time. Like, that's it.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know.
Yeah. There's a lot of guys.
I don't think I've ever talked any more crap, though, with any other driver than him.
Really?
Yeah, I remember in New Jersey, like, dude, we went at it. Like, mad talking crap to each other. It was funny.
Was that New Jersey last year?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I do remember that. He's good shit.
Yeah. I just make fun of his Ford motors.
They're so loud. That car was so loud.
Yeah.
Like, for all the, I want to say the wrong reasons, because like it just, I don't know what he did with that exhaust, but like you could feel the exhaust off of that car. It was crazy.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Are you planning on dialing? Speaking of sound, are you planning on dialing in any more pops and bangs? I think you got it figured out there for Long Beach.
From Long Beach?
Yeah, well, because I know you had said that like initially it wasn't loud enough, and then in Long Beach you had kind of dialed the pops and bangs back in.
Yeah, we had to change the rev limiter a little bit, but honestly, I'm not really trying to like sit on the limiter as much as like I did last year. A lot of people kept thinking it was like wrong gearing and stuff, and really what I would do for qualifying is just turn my rev limiter down a little bit for qualifying and peg it out for the fans, because they loved it, but obviously it's not that healthy for the motor, and so like also like. I'm not too sure. It's like people were kind of like not liking the fact of just sitting on the limiter the whole time. So kind of changing that up a little bit. Obviously pop up the limiter a little bit here and there for the fans. And then, but obviously it's got to be fast still. So this year kind of focused on more what's going to get us results, not just, to pop and bang.
Do you think like the judges saw that as like a bad gearing choice?
Man, maybe. I just know that when I personally watch it at like Irwindale, like I would just literally flat foot it because, there's marbles and everything, and I never wanted the car to like grip up. So I would just literally, as soon as it could get to the rev limiter, I literally just would not lift and just let it sit there. So the slip would kind of try and be the same around the bank. But it sounded kind of bad, honestly. It was just like limiter the entire bank, and it kind of just sounded bad in all honesty. Some people like it, some people, I don't know. But personally, I don't think it was the greatest, show. I
know what you mean. Like, it's cool to get the pops and bangs in there, but when it's all pops and bangs, it's like, okay.
It's kind of like, yeah. Yeah.
Seems off.
But a little pop and bang here and there kind of throws people off. I think that's what we need.
I think it's cool, and I'm hoping people like will listen for it now, because I know before you head to the line, you always like pop off once.
Yeah, absolutely. When I go in the burnout box, I just do like a little pop real quick right as I'm rolling up to the start line.
Yeah. Do you have we talked to Stookie about it, and there's actually been some comments about it. People are like really interested about burnout box etiquette. Like, do you have a pattern that you go through every time?
Man, not really, but I've been starting to like do things a little bit differently. It's funny though, when you're like watching other people, it's kind of funny like how many people like almost hit the wall or how bad it looks like we are driving in the burnout box, because, we're just trying to warm up the fronts or the back, and it's kind of like comical sometimes. But no, I kind of do the same thing for the most part. But I don't like count, how many times I do it. I just kind of look at the clock, and it seems like I kind of got the same pattern down though.
Yeah, maybe I'll start like going back and watching footage and see if you're inadvertently doing the exact same pattern over and over again.
Yeah,
maybe. Anybody you're looking forward to battling this year? Like, are you would have?
Man, I don't know. I just look forward to battling like the biggest names, just because I just feel like my name isn't there yet. Like people aren't putting like respect on me yet. So. And like I want that, So I feel like taking out the top dudes is going to be what it takes, and if that's what it is, then those are the dudes I want to go against,
Well, I mean, you obviously like Jeff Jones, Taylor Hall. Obviously, I'm not like saying that those guys are like top dudes, but they're not bottom dudes by any means. But then obviously Ryan Turk, and I mean, like what were your thoughts on that? Because like that. up until him hitting you probably could have gone either way, but also looking at where you picked up the throttle, you were well within where you needed to be.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think Ryan was too happy with it, but honestly, I drove the exact same way, dude. And when I was in the lead run against Ryan, like, I put everything down 100%. I ran that car as hard as it would. I picked up the throttle in the exact same spot on every single lap. And honestly, like, after talking with him, I kind of felt bad because, you know, I went back and looked at the footage, though. And, dude, like, honestly, he just came in a little hot. You know, maybe he wasn't expecting my car to be that fast. I don't know. But when I chased him, I know that it was everything my car had, and I was still getting a little bit gap. I was still cutting the line a little bit, so I knew his car was faster than mine for sure. But in my lead run, dude, like, the last thing I'm ever doing with anybody is playing a game. And the last thing I would have ever thought about is trying to get on throttle later than normal, especially at that inner clip. So I wasn't expecting him to hit me. I don't look back at anybody or anything in the runs. Unfortunately, honestly, I wish he would have just hit my door and we would have just kept going. But instead he hit my front wheel and I couldn't save it. I tried. So even in our in-car video, you see I even tried to turn more to the left to save it. And I mean, it'd been cool if we were banging doors across the finish line. But, you know, situation sucked. Like, I get it. He wants to win, but so do I. And, you know, this isn't going to be the first time that I'm going to be there. So.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And I mean, we kind of alluded to that in the beginning too, where it's like when you start winning, people start getting upset because like, like I don't, like, not to sound shitty, there's a lot of people who didn't expect you to win that. There's a lot of people like, oh, okay, yeah, Jeff Jones, okay, that's going to be a good one. Okay, Taylor Hall, yeah, like that's
Jeff Jones.
That could probably go either way. Pardon?
Man, you keep saying Jeff Jones.
Didn't you?
I went against Odie.
You went against Odie. I'm sorry. That was Simon that went against Jeff Jones.
Yeah.
Odie. The Odie one is definitely, I apologize. The Odie one is an upset to me. Sorry. The Taylor Hall one, I was kind of like, okay, that could go either way.
Yeah,
and
but
then the
like,
Ryan Turk one, it's like.
Everyone kept saying, he's like, you know, like, come to me, oh, you probably got that. I'm like, man, like, we're all at a different level. Like, anything can happen. These dudes shred. Like, there's no one to take lightly. Like, the only difference that I see is, like, sometimes I know that I can go like 110% behind someone versus the other guy. You know, maybe sometimes like I understand, oh, maybe I can keep up a little bit better. But other than that, dude, like, everybody shreds and like anything can happen. Cars break, you know, people might hit the wall. Anything happens, you know? So like I never count like, hey, I've got an advantage before even going in the battle, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fair. Well, I mean, you can't. Like, I think you proved that either way, right?
Yeah, I guess.
It's good. I mean, it's good to get those upsets. I mean, even though it's not even an upset, like that's just how this is. Last year is a great example of that. Seeing what Rome could do, what Travis could do, what Kazuya could do, what like Dylan could do. Like, those are all top guys for sure. But like, I'm sure if you were to say to anybody at the beginning of the season that Kazuya was going to have a perfect round, like qualifying first and then winning the event.
Yeah, for sure.
People wouldn't have laid money on that.
Well, I can guarantee you going into round one, people weren't putting Jonathan in the top 4.
Fair enough.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, no, that's fair.
Even if I would have, before I went in there, and someone asked me, well, how do you think you're going to do? You know, I'm probably not putting myself in the top 4 for round one.
Yeah.
You know, so like you can't sleep on anybody. That's for sure.
And I think that's what makes it the most exciting. I mean, same, we talked about it earlier, like Stuckey going a legitimate one more time with James Dean.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, what? And that's what I said to him too. I'm like, I'm not trying to shit on you, dude, but like, you went on a one more time with arguably the greatest.
Yeah, but me and Stuckey are the same though. Like, me and Stuckey like vibe off that. Like, we want to go against those dudes. Like, those are the guys that you want to beat, because when you beat one of those guys, then everybody, it's like they respect you more. You know, like, then that's just how it is in the sport, you know? What do you think you have to do to, like, I guess, pop off more, or, like, for lack of a better term? Man, at this point, I don't even know. But we'll see. Obviously, you know, I think it's going to have to be show that round one wasn't just a fluke and it's not just a one event thing. So I think we come out round two,
Try to have a good showing there. Keep this momentum going. Hopefully my name isn't, ignored too much anymore,
Yeah. I mean, I know what you're saying. I don't think it's purposefully ignored.
No, for sure. But like, for instance, like when you're going against Turk, like my name wasn't even brought up in the whole battle because you're going against Ryan Turk, So it's just like, I'm there though,
Yeah.
And, just want to try and maybe recognize a little bit more, and that's what I'm trying to do.
I think you just keep doing you. I mean, it's a grind. Like,
oh, absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. If we look at like how long it's taken some of these guys, like,
yeah. And like the thing is like, honestly, I think it's cool that I was able to at least go that far, with the way I'm doing it, because all these people, I get so many messages all the time. Like, how'd you get in the FD? How do you do it? And all this stuff. Like, I want to do that one day. And like, I'm just trying to show these people, like, if that's what you want to do, like, you can do it, And I'm definitely 100% proof for that, because I'll tell you right now, and for a fact that there's no big budget behind this, and it's just a lot of sweat, blood, tears, hard work to get to where I'm at right now. And man, like, it was a good feeling for round one to get to where I was, but like I knew I was calm after beating Turk. Like, I was like, man, we can take this all the way. So,
yeah,
it's just weird, like how my mindset, kind of changed and what you really can do in the sport,
Yeah.
I feel like it's hard I feel like you can't go to like F1 or NASCAR. It's hard to do something like that, with like not a lot of money and stuff. But in FD, I feel like it's one of the sports that when things go right, I mean, you can take it all the way to the top.
Well, I have full faith that it's going to happen again and more,
for
and
sure,
better. And like, I really, after seeing everything in Long Beach and understanding everything that's going on, like, there's no doubt in my mind that you won't be on the podium this year.
That's the goal.
Yeah. I don't want to like jinx anything. I don't know, knock on some wood or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah, but for sure. We got 7 more tries.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good way to think about
man,
it.
the way I look at it though, dude, like, there's been some dudes in the sport, man, that haven't made it that far, and like they've been putting in the time and stuff. So like, it's not easy, it's definitely not easy, but it's definitely possible.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. There are definitely guys that have been in the sport longer than you have that haven't gotten that far at any point. And yeah, it's really awesome to see. Like, from a fan's perspective, it is it's the story you're looking for. Like, everybody gets sick of the Forsberg gets the win and this, Osbo does this and that guy does that. Like, it's exciting when there's this much of a shakeup.
For sure.
And last year we saw a lot of it, but I think this year we're probably going to see more of it than we ever have.
Yep, I agree.
I think there's just everything's going right.
Yep, ton of heavy hitters this year.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm stoked. I mean, I've been talking about how excited I am for this season since last season.
Yeah,
as soon as last
sure.
year ended, I was like, dude, this is it. But cool. Yeah, I mean, I honestly can't think of a better way to wrap it up, to be honest with you. I felt like there was more, but I'm also like, man, I want to see you podium. I want to see you up there.
That's the goal. That's where I'm going. So
yeah. Well, you want to do any shouts out of socials, anything like that?
Yeah, go check me out. Follow me on Instagram, Jonathan Cash 16. We got the YouTube going, Jonathan Hurst as well. Cash Racing on Facebook. I think TikTok's like Jonathan Cash as well. But
yeah, I'll get some links going in the show notes to make sure everyone can follow you.
Absolutely.
And then swing by the pitch. You're super open in the pitch.
Yeah. Check it out. Especially if you got any kids or anything, then you're watching this. Bring the kids by. Let them check the car out. Maybe they can hop in it, get a couple pictures or something. So, for sure.
Yeah. Hopefully we get those shirts all ready to go for Atlanta.
Yeah,
too.
Absolutely. Hopefully.
Yeah. That'll be sick. All right, dude. Well, thank you for doing this.
Yeah,
Hopefully you feel a little bit better. I know you were fighting through that cold a little bit, but
for sure.
Glad we did this. Cool. Well, thank you again, guys, for listening. Please go support all the drivers, but make sure to support the guys that need it the most. So I will make sure to have all the notes, show notes. I'll make sure on YouTube it's all there too, so you guys can go follow. Yeah, thanks again, dude.
Yeah, dude, appreciate it, man. Thanks for your time.
No worries. See you in a couple weeks.
Yeah, man. Sounds good. Later.